What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video here on the CU04 YouTube channel. It's a bit of a tradition at the end of the season that we do a season in review video, so I thought why not do one for our League One campaign. There has definitely been a up and down ride, but you know, it's been a mad season on and off the pitch. On the pitch, not great. Off the pitch, it's been fantastic. We've had a takeover. We've had goalkeeper calamities. We've had defender mistakes. We've had players fallout. We've had manager fallouts. What a season it's been, you know. It's been wild, and I thought why not continue doing a season in review video, of course, here on the channel. But I just want to say that these videos do take absolutely ages, so if you guys could subscribe, like, comment on the video, it would all be greatly appreciated, even though I know it hasn't been the best season on the pitch. But I want to thank you for all the support this season. It's been incredible. But let's get straight into the season in review 2023-24. Starting in August then, when we all had a bit of enthusiasm about the season, I think we all sort of thought, you know, we weren't going to be mid-table or anything, but I thought we all had the same thing, that we could stay up in League One. We could get that just, you know, sort of 19th, 18th place. And that, you know, we started the season with that 1-1 draw against Fleetwood. Owen Moxon's free kick with the only goal of the game there, as you just seen in the intro there. We then got knocked out of the Carlisle Cup with the curse of Harrogate continuing, and Edmondson missing a late penalty down in Harrogate. We then took the trip to Oxford, where we got beat 1-0 there. We welcomed Wigan on the Tuesday night to Brunton Park, where Moxon got our only goal in a 1-1 draw, with Charlie White scoring for Wigan. Exeter then came up to Brunton Park and got a 2-0 win against us. And then the Jockle Anderson era started. Didn't last very long, but it started at Port Vale, where Port Vale got a 1-0 win over Carlisle. But it is crazy to see how fast Thomas Hawley was dropped this season. I honestly thought he was in the team for about 2 months before he was dropped. Obviously not, only 5 games there. But Carlisle played 6 games, scoring 2, conceding 7 with a -5 goal difference. 2 draws, 3 losses. Owen Moxon with our 2 goals. The Brunton Park attendance then was 26,528. That does include away fans. And Carlisle fans had travelled 1,063 miles. Now I'm basing that off stadium to stadium as a round trip. So for example, that is from Brunton Park to Oxford, back to Brunton Park. That is how that is going to count. But that is our August then. Not the greatest of starts in League One for sure. But we did play a couple of difficult teams in there, like Wigan. Although disappointing to be knocked out of the Carabao Cup in the first round. You do always hope that you can get a mini cup run any season that you're involved. Moving into September then, this is where we kicked off our Papa John's / Bristol City Motors campaign. But we did start September with a 2-0 win at Brunton Park against Shrewsbury. Now that was, of course, Morgan Feeney's return to Brunton Park after the summer activity. And, you know, it was a great atmosphere, that game. An own goal and the Joe Garner goal gave us a 2-0 win before we started our Bristol Street Motors campaign with a 1-0 away defeat against Accrington. Not the best start there. Before making the long trip down to the Lamex, where we got a 2-2 draw out of Stevenage. Sean Maguire and Joe Garner with our goals. You were kind of hoping that's where Sean Maguire would click on and start to score a few goals across the season, but obviously that didn't happen in the end. We then went down to the LNER Stadium against Lincoln, where we got a 1-1 draw with Luke Plange getting our goal. There's a name I imagine some people have forgotten. And then the calamitous actions of Jockle Anderson gave Derby a late penalty to give them a comfortable 2-0 win at Brunton Park, with James Collins getting a double. And then the calamities continues with the goalkeeper mistakes as John Mellish throws the ball back to Anderson, who takes out his man and gets sent off, which gives Wickham a 2-0 win as well. So we had won 1, drawn 2, and lost 3 up until this point. Joe Garner, Sean Maguire, Luke Plange with the goals in September, and the Brunton Park attendance up to 45,000, and the away mileage travelled was 2,742. But that was Jockle Anderson's era as Carlisle's goalkeeper, finished within 6 games there. As I say, didn't last very long. Just an absolute calamitous goalkeeper we've had all season. You see the structure of it all and everything. But that was Jockle Anderson's mini era as Carlisle's goalkeeper, come to an end in September. And then we get into the month of October, which is probably best known as Jordan Gibson's month. Thomas Hawley made his return to the Carlisle United goal in the 1-1 draw at home against Peterborough, where Jordan Gibson got a 96-minute equaliser. Great game that was. And then an even better game was Bolton away. 4,500 Carlisle fans, 4,400 I think it was. Where Carlisle got that 3-1 win over Bolton. With Gibson getting a hat-trick there. We then basically finished our Bristol Street Motors campaign with a 2-0 home game against Nottingham Forest under-21s. That game was disastrous to watch. I remember going past... I finished work quite late and I was going past the stadium. I bought a ticket on the day. Awful, that game. That was terrible. It really was. It was freezing as well. But anyway, then we had a 1-0 defeat against Leyland Orient in the league. Portsmouth scored a 92nd minute winner against us down at Fratton Park. To give them a 1-0 win. We then got another win though. We beat Burton 2 on the Brunton Park on the Tuesday night. Jordan Gibson again and Joe Garner with our goals. Before we went down to the Abbey Stadium and Cambridge beat us 1-0. So 2 wins, 1 draw and 4 losses in the month of October, with Jordan Gibson with 5 goals, Joe Garner with 1. Taking our seasonal total to 19 games played, 13 scored, 22 conceded, and a -9 goal difference, with 3 wins, 5 draws and 10 losses. As you can see, the top goal scorer list there. And Brunton Park's attendance was up 67,156, and the away miles travelled was a whopping 4,166, with a lot of fans, as we said, going to Bolton, probably the best away game of the season. But the top goal scorer list was there, and then we were in for a very exciting time off the pitch in the month of November. That is right, on the pitch, probably the worst month we've had, but off the pitch, an absolutely fantastic time to be a Carlisle fan, with the Piaket family taking over the club against Charlton halfway through the month. But looking at the start of the month then, we were dumped out at the FA Cup with a 3-1 away defeat against Leyland Orient. Bristol Rovers then beat us 1-0 at Brunton Park before we did end our Bristol Street Motors campaign against Harrogate, but we did break the Harrogate curse with a 2-0 win against Harrogate, with Jordan Gibson getting both goals under the last game of the old regime. And then here came our American owners for the Charlton game, which was a 1-1 draw, with Sam Lavelle getting the only goal for Carlisle in that game. And then we took the trip down to Reading, where Reading took a very early lead, and you kind of hoped that when Luke Plange equalised basically immediately, we will go on in the game, but we didn't, unfortunately. And Reading beat us 5-1 with our heaviest defeat of the season so far. 5 games played, 5 goals scored, 10 conceded with a -5 goal difference, 1 win, 1 draw and 3 losses. Gibson with 2 goals, and then Plange, Lavelle and Joe Garner with 1 goal each in the month of November. Top goal scorers then, Gibson on 7, Garner on 4, and then you've got Plange and Moxon on 2, Maguire and Lavelle on 1. Brunton Park's attendance then went up to 86,000, and the miles travelled was 5,400. Our total games for the season was 23 at this point, with 4 wins, 6 draws and 13 losses. But as we did say, it was a very exciting time to be a Carlisle fan off the pitch with everything that was going on, and we were going into December, which was going to be a crucial month for the next 8 weeks in terms of the relegation fight. But how did we get on in the month of December? Well, as I said, the next 8 weeks were very crucial to Carlisle's survival hopes, and unfortunately, it did not start very well. Blackpool 3, Carlisle United 0, of course, where a bit of disagreement between fans and Simpson and everything, and it did get a little bit ugly for a week or so, especially on social media, but Blackpool did put 3 past us. But moving into the games then, when it really, the next sort of 6-7 games were all against teams in and around us, in the relegation fight and everything. We started with a 2-2 draw against Northampton. We scored late on with Edmondson, and then Northampton equalised even later on. And then we had the Thomas Hawley Hap, where that was his last time for Carlisle United, that Cheltenham game where he tried to keep the ball in and sort of parried it straight to their players' feet to give them a 1-0 win, and that was a crucial game for us to be staying up in League One, and we did get a defeat. And then we had the opening game of the season repeat as we went down to Fleetwood in a 1-1 draw, exactly the same as it was on the first game, with Owen Moxon scoring for us, and we taking a point apiece. We then went to Wigan, the last game of 2023 for us, ended in a 2-0 defeat, where it was freezing for a start, but a 2-0 defeat against Wigan. And of course, that Fleetwood game being Gabe Breeze's stint as Carlisle United's number one, with Thomas Hawley dropped after the Cheltenham game. But 5 games, 3 goals scored, 9 conceded, -6 goal difference, and 2 draws, 3 losses. The only goals coming from Moxon, Edmondson and Jack Armour. Our Brunton Park attendance went over 100,000 then, with the away fans included, and then the away miles travelled was 5,995. So a long trek, but we're moving into the new year hoping for a change of fortune. Went into January then, into the new year 2024, and we started with a win. We were hoping that we could continue the form, but we immediately then went to a 2-1 defeat. But that 2-1 win against Port Vale was a great game. Gibson and Mellish with the goals. We then did go down to Exeter, who were in and around the relegation zone at that moment in time, but they got a 2-1 win against us with Dan Butworth getting our goal. Oxford then came to Brunton Park and did the double over us as they got a 3-1 win with Alfie McCalmon getting our goal. And then new signing Luke Armstrong got Carlisle's only goal in a 2-1 defeat against Barnsley, in a game where really we could have been about 4-0 up at half time, if we're going to be honest about it, but we didn't take our chances, and Barnsley got a very late penalty which gave them a 2-1 win. And then Bolton came for some revenge against us as they came up to Brunton Park with a 4-1 win. Jordan Gibson with another goal against Bolton. He obviously really enjoys himself playing against Bolton, but Bolton were the better team on the day by far, and they did get a 4-1 win with Carl Dempsey getting the cherry on top of the cake after being, he got a bit of stick, didn't he? And then he got the last laugh at the end of that. But Bolton with a 4-1 win, which meant we conceded 12 goals, only scoring 6, so -6 goal difference. 1 win and 4 losses in January. Gibson with 2, and then Butworth, McCalmon, Armstrong and John Mellish all with 1 goal each would be our goal scorers for the month of January. The home attendance up to 127,000, and the away mileage travelled was 6,973. Gibson with 9 goals being our top goal scorer, followed by Joe Garner with 4, Moxon with 3, Plange with 2, and then a whole host of players there on 1 goal each. Season total came to 8 draws, 20 defeats and 5 wins going into February. But of course January did mark our first transfer window under the new ownership, and we were hoping to get the recruitment right. But as you look at it, and as we all know now, we went for a very long-term approach instead of a short-term approach. Moxon left to become a champion of League One with Portsmouth. Edmondson mutually agreed contract termination and went over to Australia, and Joe Garner ended up going to Oldham. Players coming in then, we got Josh Vella from Fleetwood, Luke Armstrong from Harrogate, Harrison Neal from Sheffield United, Sean Grennan on loan from Crystal Palace, Harry Lewis from Bradford, Jack Diamond from Sunderland on loan. Then we had Anton Dudek, who ended up playing more first team than he did reserves, even though he was brought in as a reserve player. And then, of course, the last minute transfer of Georgie Kelly from Rotherham, who we didn't unfortunately get to see until later in the season. Another injury-prone player from Rotherham we have signed this year. But all in all, long-term approach to the transfer window as we headed into the month of February. The month of February started as did the month of November with a trip down to Leigh to Orient. This time we scored 2 goals, but Orient did continue with their 3-goal spell against us. So Orient with a 3-2 win there. Josh Vella and Sean Maguire with our goals. Maguire with a late penalty. Then Portsmouth came to Brunton Park. Owen Moxon making his return as a Portsmouth player. They got a 1-0 win against us. And then we had that Cambridge game, which was awful, wasn't it? A 4-0 win for Cambridge at Brunton Park. No, it was disastrous. We're going to be honest there. It was awful. That second half, they just ran away with it. It was a pathetic display, to be fair. Bristol Rovers, we took the lead with a Josh Vella goal, but they came back and won 2-1 in the end. And then we beat Burton on, I believe it was a Tuesday night game. We did the double over Burton with a Paul Huntington header giving us the 3 points there. That was our only win of the month with 4 losses. Josh Vella with 2 goals, Maguire and Hunt with 1. Brunton Park attendance went up to 143,000 and the away miles travelled went up to 8,511. 38 games played, 31 goals scored, 63 conceded and 32 goal difference, minus 32 goal difference that is. 6 wins, 8 draws and 24 losses for Carlisle going into March. And we were all but relegated at this point. I think we all sort of knew it was going to be a big task going into the last 2 months of the season to try and stay up. We still had, a glimmer of hope. There were still a few games that you looked at where we could be taking points, but the writing was on the wall really heading into the month of March. Moving into March then, when all the goals were happening for and against Carlisle. Loads of goals in the month of March, but it started with a 3-1 defeat at home against Reading. I introduced some of my uni mates to Carlisle United. This was their first Carlisle United game. Safe to say they haven't been back since. After a poor performance against Reading, John Mellish with our goal though. We then took on Charlton, where Armstrong and Taylor Charters got our goals, but again 3 goals were scored past us and Charlton came away with a 3-2 win. And then on the Tuesday night we took on Barnsley and another 3-2 game where Carlisle were on the wrong side of it. Armstrong and Butterworth with other goals, but Barnsley did outscore us again. Shrewsbury beat us 1-0 down at the Meadow, and then we hosted Stevenage in that 2-2 game. Again, just a copy and paste from the game down at Stevenage, where that was also 2-2. But Dan Butterworth with a great first goal and then a second goal as well. But Stevenage, I wasn't actually at this game. This is the only home game I missed. I was at Liverpool for a game and I seen that Stevenage scored in the 81st minute and there was 6 minutes added time and I was like, there's no way that Stevenage equalised, and they did. In I think it was like the 96th minute or so, last kick of the game, Stevenage coming away with a 2-2. But then we went down to Peterborough and John Mellish channelled his Jordan Gibson against Bolton and got a hat-trick, a great hat-trick at that, against Peterborough with a 3-1 win there. 6 games played, 10 goals scored, 13 conceded, minus 3 goal difference, 1 win, 1 draw, 4 losses. Mellish with 4 goals, Butterworth with 3 goals, Armstrong with 2 and Charters with 1. The mileage was just under 10,000 and the Brunton Park attendance was 164,000 as we headed into the last month of the season in April. Can we have a late fight to stay in the league, or was our relegation to be confirmed? Of course, you already know how it goes, but our relegation was confirmed in April. To be fair, it took longer than I expected. I was expecting we were to be relegated in like March, so we did well to get it this far. But we did start April on April 1st with the retro kit day, great design and everything for that. But unfortunately, the enthusiasm didn't match it on the pitch as we got beat by another 3 goals. We like conceding 3 goals, don't we? But a 3-1 defeat against Lincoln, Sam Lavelle with our goal. A 2-0 away defeat at Sixfields, which did confirm our relegation back to League 2 for another season. We then went to Cheltenham and give them a 1-0 defeat, Sam Lavelle with our goal again. And then against Blackpool, we were 1-0 down after 22 seconds. Dembele with their goal give Blackpool 3 points on the road. We then conceded 3 goals again in our last home game of the season against Wycombe. It finished Carlisle 1, Wycombe 3. Alvin McCalmont with our goal. Decent finish, to be fair, from McCalmont. And then we went down to Derby on the last game of the season. Could we ruin their automatic push? No, we couldn't. Derby, of course, coming away with a 2-0 win against Carlisle. Same as they did at Brunton Park, 2-0 win for them. And that was our season done then. We finished with 6 games there in April. 3 goals scored, 11 conceded, -8 goal difference, 1 win and 5 losses. Sam Lavelle with 2 goals, Alfie McCalmont with 1 goal. And we finished the season on a whimper, really. It wasn't a good one. It wasn't a good season, but I think as soon as that final whistle went against Derby, 2 minutes early, mind, but I'm sure as soon as that final whistle went, everyone just breathed a sigh of relief that our League One campaign was over. But that's at the end of the video. Let's get into some end of season stats then. As you can see, we finished with 50 games played, if my calculations are correct. We scored 44 goals, conceded 86, which left us on a -42 goal difference. 8 wins, 9 draws and 33 losses in the season. Our top goal scorer was Jordan Gibson with 9. John Mellish came in with 5. Joe Garner and Dan Butterworth got 4. Moxon, Armstrong and Lavelle got 3. Plange, Maguire, Vella and McCalmont got 2. And then Edmondson, Armour, Huntington and Charters got 1 each. The final attendance for Brunton Park this season was 185,971. The amount of miles travelled was 11,339. The average home attendance was 8,000 and our average away attendance was 1,023. Absolutely incredible. But let's get on to some end of season awards then, with over 740 of you voting on Instagram. Absolutely ridiculous. I actually forgot that I put these polls out, and then I woke up one morning to 285 Instagram notifications, and I was like, what on earth is going on here? But of course it was just you guys with your incredible support on the polls and everything for our end of year awards 2023-20. Now we have some agreements and some disagreements with my vote and your vote, but of course it's always interesting to see what we all think. Now looking at the best away spot then, I went with Bolton personally. I thought Bolton fans were incredible. Of course, it was quite a warm day and everything. It was an away day you would have wanted if you were a Bolton fan. But a great support from them. You guys went with Portsmouth with 52 votes. Bolton with 41, Derby with 23, 21 for Wigan, 10 for Barnsley, 3 for Charlton and 1 for Cambridge. Portsmouth, incredible support as well. I have absolutely no doubts about that. Absolutely incredible from them. For me, it was just that bell for 90 minutes really irritated me, to be honest. But absolutely incredible from Portsmouth, especially with the mileage they have to put in as well. So I have no complaints with you guys voting for Portsmouth as the best. The best home game then, I went with Charlton. I was looking at that from, obviously it was the Paquettes, coming out on the pitch, their first game as owners and everything. The atmosphere, getting to talk to them and some of the players before the game was incredible from my perspective. But you guys went with Shrewsbury with 87 of votes. Totally understand. Great game. Obviously, Feeney came back. The atmosphere was raised. It was incredible. Fleetwood with 29. Port Vale with 27. 6 for Charlton, 2 for Bolton, 1 for Wigan and 1 for Burton. Yeah, not that many great games really this season at home, but of course, Shrewsbury with the win, Port Vale we won, and of course Fleetwood was the first game of the season, so we had that bit of optimism as well. The best away game then, absolutely no doubt about it. I went with Bolton, you guys went with Bolton. We were a massive 129 of you picking out Bolton there. 34 of you went with Portsmouth, 18 went with Derby, 13 went with Peterborough, 4 with Shrewsbury, and 1 with Cheltenham. Absolutely no doubt about it that Bolton was going to win that one. By far and away the best away day of the season, if not of the last few years, to be fair. I'll be very interested to see what you guys think about that, sort of in the last maybe 5 years or so. I was going to say Anfield, but that would have been more than 5 years ago now, surely. But yeah, Bolton easily winning that one with 129 of the votes. Goal of the season then, I went with John Mellish's third against Peterborough. You guys went with his second against Peterborough, 55 votes for the second one, 51 votes for Mellish's third, 35 votes for Butterworth's second against Stevenage, 14 for Armour's cross against Northampton, 9 votes for Jordan Gibson's deflection against Bolton, and 4 votes for Owen Moxon's free kick on the first game of the season against Fleetwood Town. So very, very similar. Mellish, of course, a brilliant hat-trick for him against Peterborough. And of course, they're coming very close with both the votes. Looking at the signing of the season, I went with Harrison Neal. You guys agree with me. 43 votes for Harrison Neal, 14 for Sam Lavelle, 12 for Dan Butterworth, 8 for Georgie Kelly, 6 for Terry Ablade, 5 for Luke Armstrong, and 2 for both Jack Robinson and Jack Diamond. No idea how Terry Ablade, Jack Robinson, Jack Diamond, or really Georgie Kelly gets on that list. But, you know, everyone's got their own opinion. But, yeah, not really sure how they got onto the list. But, yeah, you guys agreeing with me with Harrison Neal. Been a fantastic sign since coming in January. Always solid. Just a bit of a waste if he gets a yellow card very early in the game, because you don't really know what to expect from then on. From him, but obviously loves a tackle. And then the player of the season, of course, has to be, there's only one man, isn't there? It is John Mellish. I picked John Mellish. 68 of you agreed with John Mellish. 47 said Harrison Neal. 32 said Gibson. 21 Sam Lavelle. 9 Georgie Kelly. 6 Dan Butterworth. 7 Luke Armstrong. And 2 for Terry Ablade. Again, how Georgie Kelly or Terry Ablade have got on that list is slightly beyond me. But it is, you know, it's all good. You guys have your opinions. But yeah, I went with John Mellish there with 68 of the votes. You guys saw me with 68 of the votes. I went with John Mellish. I think he's been very consistent throughout the season. And of course, he's our super Johnny Mellish. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. If you've got to the end, fair play, because it has been a very, very long season. This video always is a long one, recapping the entire season. But they're always fun to make these videos. They're my personal favourites to make. And yeah, they always go down really well. I don't expect it to go down as well this season because, of course, it hasn't exactly been the greatest season in the world, has it? But thank you so much for watching this video. I've been CU04, and I will see you in the next one.